What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is OSA. My name, of course, is still Emmanuel Kwame, but you know where to find me at Olale Salvador. And today we have an exciting episode on In Case You Missed It. Of late, our In Case You Missed It episodes have been centered on a bit of current affairs and not too much of what we are really known for, which is pop culture, music, and entertainment. But of course, that shouldn't be a problem, right? All right, now let's get into the topic for today. And this conversation has been trending for the last few days, and that's because President John Dramani Mahama cut sword for the construction of a modern Hajj village. Now, this conversation has triggered quite a number of PTSDs. Now, so those of you who have been in this country long enough to know about the National Cathedral, many are equating the construction of the Hajj village to that of the National Cathedral. Some say, as it were with Christians and National Cathedral, this is the same for Muslims in the Hajj village. And a lot of defenses have been, popping up here and there and so on and so forth. People say, hey, it's not government money. National Cathedral is different. $58 million went into a hole. People say that, government shouldn't come into the conversation of religious projects and whatnot. It should be the headache of religious bodies and so on and so forth. The best it can do is to constantly, give us an enabling environment or give religious bodies an enabling environment to coexist. They don't really have to be doing, personal projects for them, especially on the back of what happened with the National Cathedral. So a lot of questions have been asked about how is a Hajj village going to be funded? Where's the money going to come from? Because once upon a time, somebody told us that he was going to build the cathedral. It was his personal promise, a personal pledge. God played his part because he told God that, God, if you make me president, I'm going to build a house for you. I will build a cathedral for you. God did his part. Mandem won the presidency. He came. 8 years. 8 years. Nothing to write home about. In fact, when he actualized his prayer and the testimony was manifested, hallelujah, he forgot that it was a personal pledge. It moved from being a personal pledge to, becoming a state project. Some may argue that, it was a personal project. He has become president, so automatically becomes a state project. Some say it was a project that was going to benefit Christians. It was going to benefit the country at large because of tourist revenues. It's going to be a tourist site. It's going to be a tourist attraction. People are going to fly all over the world and come and see this beautiful cathedral. And so it was necessary. Even me as an individual, as a Christian, I bought into the idea because, I'm a Christian. And anything that helps the Christian community, why not? But of course, not at the expense of state funds. And he went ahead to scam us. Scammed every bit of us. All right? It's a conversation I feel ashamed to talk about as a Christian, Because if someone makes a personal promise and says he is going to build it, I think the question we should have asked ourselves was, where was he going to get the money from? Well, this is the same man who told us that he wasn't looking for the presidency to make more money because if it's about money, he's already got it. Hey, Addo. Anyways, so this conversation with the Hajj village definitely sparked some level of argument in terms of why it's a priority for government, who is funding this, and so on and so forth. So this video is going to attempt to answer some of these questions. Myself, I asked some of these questions, to be sure that indeed we are not walking the same path that we witnessed 8 years ago. So let's go to Ghana News Agency, where the story obviously has been put together by the writer ID Yeri. I believe he's a correspondent at the GNA, and he says that President John Dramani Mahama on Friday cut sword for the construction of an ultra-modern state-of-the-art Hajj village in Accra. And the construction of the new Hajj village will serve as a modern, well-equipped and dignified facility for departing pilgrims, and it will take about 24 months to complete. The edifice includes a fully air-conditioned pilgrims hall, like a terminal. So keyword here is terminal, okay? Keyword here is terminal, to ensure comfort before departure. The pilgrims will check at the terminal building, after which they will be taken by a bus straight to the aircraft to board and depart. So from this, you can clearly tell that this is a project that's designed to, really ease the anxiety and the discomfort and perhaps even the pressure that comes with going to Mecca or going for the Hajj. And he says the facility would also have a modern ablution and prayer area, a mosque to facilitate spiritual preparation before the pilgrims leave. There will be well-organized, comfortable accommodation to allow the pilgrims to rest peacefully before their flights are ready. It would also have a dedicated health facility, a modern clinic to provide medical care and screening before they depart, a market and catering facilities. In addition, there will be an immigration desk and check-in services to streamline travel procedures before they embark on their pilgrimage. Now, President Mahama in his remarks announced that his pledge to reduce Hajj fare had been fulfilled and that the cost of Hajj was reduced from 35,000 Ghana cedis to 62,000 Ghana cedis, savings of up to 13,000 Ghana cedis per pilgrim. And the quote is there, blah, 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 blah. He talks about it, and then he also talks about the fact that he instructed the Hajj task force to cut off the number at 5,000 so that they can be able to accommodate and meet the expectations of those who actually come through the Hajj village. All right. And then he also talks about the fact that, they came to meet some existing debt from the previous government, i.e. the Akufo-Addo government, where, the Hajj is essentially a conversation between governments. So the Saudi Arabian government and that of the Ghanaian government, they have this conversation. Often they provide the necessary resources to facilitate the travel, essentially, all right? So obviously some monies would have to be exchanged. Okay, now if you look at the idea of this Hajj village, like I said earlier, it's essentially going to be like a mini terminal. All right, so think Terminal 3. When you're doing international travel, instead of you going to Terminal 2, which was the former departure terminal, now you have to go through the Terminal 3 if you want to go outside Ghana, whether it is Togo, whatever, you have to go through Terminal 3. Right, but if you're going to Kumasi, which is local travel, you go to Terminal 2. Now, the Hajj is going to serve in a similar way. All right, it will serve as that terminal. So let's call it Terminal Hajj. It's going to serve like a premium executive, lounge for our Muslim brothers and sisters who would want to go to Mecca or be a part of the pilgrimage. Now, with all of this is exciting, it's great, it's wonderful, okay? And so the people are asking, wow, this is a great idea. Where is the money going to come from? And so myself, like I said, I've been asking questions where the money was going to come from. And I saw people say that it's not state funded and government has no hand in it. And Hajj as a pilgrimage, is able to generate money and the government makes a lot of profit from it. And so the government is going to be using the profits from the Hajj or the pilgrimage to facilitate the construction of this village or this project, right? And I'm like, okay, if the government is making enough money to facilitate this project, then why has it subsidized the trips? Especially when Honorable Collins Dauda actually revealed that there was an astounding debt of some millions of dollars somewhere concerning the same Hajj travel. So if really the government was making money, why do they need to subsidize, the cost? That particular aspect of the explanation did not sit down well with me. And I believe that Ghanaians have shown and proven that if you are going to be doing a project and state funds are not going to be involved in that project, especially when you have schools under trees, you have struggling hospitals, no bed syndrome. There are not enough beds in our hospitals. Kolebu is still away from falling. You get what I'm saying? And there are other things that require the same investment of funds. Why would you want to invest something like this to the benefit of a religious body? So I've come to understand and believe that Ghanaians don't have a problem if you're doing whatever you're doing when it doesn't have to involve state funds, especially when it is like an outlier in terms of investment, right? Like we have a lot of problems to deal with. We have a lot of problems to immediately mitigate, all right? So these things should come from private companies. For example, the National Mosque, it wasn't really a state-funded. In fact, it wasn't a state-funded project. It was from the Turks, right? The Turks put it up together, handed over to the government and said, this is our gift to you. Okay, so for me, I was looking forward to seeing and hearing something like that. But the interesting thing about this Hajj village is it was a project that was actually started in 2017. In fact, it was supposed to have started from 2017. Now, I take you to the former chairman of the Ghana Hajj Board, Honorable Al-Hajj bin Abdullah Banda. Before I even get to his post, like I said earlier, there was a conversation about where the money was going to come from. All right. And there's this gentleman known as Mohammed Yaslin, and he writes, he says, I just spoke to a Hajj agent at the Ghana Hajj board. The construction of the new Hajj village is a private-public partnership between Mawum's construction and the government of Ghana, which is Ghana Airport. And Ghana Airport is a state-owned, company, even though they have some level of independence in terms of the commercialization and how they make money and whatnot. All right, they are able to make money enough to take care of themselves. And when government thinks they need to step into upgrade or improve certain parts of the services, they do that. Now, it is stated that Mawums is building a Hajj village in exchange for the land where the current Hajj village is located for a different purpose. This contract is between Mawums Company Limited and the Ghana Airport. So he establishes that, right? In fact, somebody actually goes further to reveal that, for those who don't know, Mawums is an NDC financier and their husband to Shamima Muslim, second wife. And he corroborates that by saying that you didn't add that he has been in a construction when you were in Asia or not even more. So basically, Mawums is like a top shutter when it comes to construction, according to this pro NDC account. Okay, now when you go to Honorable Alhaji bin Abdullah Banda, who was the former chairman of the Ghana Hajj Board, he says that in the post I read, he says, my attention has been drawn to the intended sword cutting of the already ongoing construction of a permanent Hajj village at the Spintex Road stretch of the airport lands opposite the Action Chapel, Accra, which was commenced by the SY NPP administration and represent the facts as follows. He says, 1. The process for the construction of this project was initiated by the Nana Addo Akufo-Addo government as far back as 2017 through the then Minister of Aviation, the late Kofi-Addo, but later saw a monumental push for the former Minister of Transport, Honorable Akufo-Addo. 2. This was in pursuant to an appeal by the Ghana Hajj Board for a befitting Hajj village for its operations. The Ministry of Transport and the Ghana Airports Company Limited therefore settled on a site opposite the Action Chapel on the Spintex Road stretch of the airport, and a contract for the construction was awarded to a company called Mawums in 2024 after a PPA approval. So this was actually awarded to the company last year. And per what I read before, if indeed Mawums is an NDC financier, then I think it's good to know that we have some cross-party partnership in that regard. And according to them, it was through a PPA approval. I'll leave this aspect of the data finding to know if indeed it was through a PPA approval to Alfred Dems and Jerome Dems. They know how to mine the data and find out if indeed, because when contracts are awarded, it has to go through a competitive bidding, especially through public procurement authority. And it says that this legacy of the Nana Addo Akufo-Addo government is one that was seen as a sacred project based on its religious underpinnings, thereby avoiding any form of fanfare, pomp, and pageantry in the name of sword cutting. Basically, he's saying that, as for them, they were not even interested in sword cutting. They wanted to just do the job. Okay. We therefore urge the current government to acknowledge the new Hajj village construction currently ongoing as a legacy project of Nana Addo Dankwa government. And he attached the designs of the project and images of his construction currently. You know what? My problem with the NPP. My problem with the NPP is they like to engage in a lot of sloganeering. They can say we are starting the projects, i.e. National Cathedral, right? You clear the bungalows, you evict people, you clear them, you realign them or you reposition them, whatever, and you left us with the hole. That has been my problem with the government. You see? Because if this project was as far back as 2017, let's just say, okay, maybe previous contractors were not up to task for the job and everything. The beauty about these two parties is, while Nana Akufo-Addo may want to embark on the project and be excited about the project to really do the project, he doesn't actually complete it, as it were, with John Mahama, because President John Mahama would definitely complete a project. When it comes to infrastructure in this country and completing infrastructure in this country, he has a track record of that. I don't know about the other one, because as far as I'm concerned, the last 8 years, I see a lot of sloganeering going on and not enough to back it up. But for John Dramani Mahama, at least 1 year cry 80% obey or 90% obey. Aye, 1 year cry 80%. And we've seen that in infrastructure. That is why before he was kicked out, his opponents will say that Ghanaians don't vote for infrastructure. Because they know that we are building this, we are building that. Mahama gonna do it. Mahani gonna do it, bro. Mahani gonna do it. So even on the other side of the argument, my issue is even if this thing was state funded, I believe if Mahama was in government and the National Cathedral conversation came up, or he was behind the National Cathedral, in fact, we may not even have had an issue because the project will be done. The painful aspect of the National Cathedral is a hole was dug for $58 million, and up to now, you see foundation. Lentil cry, you lentil. Iron rods cry, you swimming pool. I have a strong feeling that if President Mahama was president at the time and he was handling this National Cathedral project, he would have finished it. He had we saw what he did in 4 years when it comes to infrastructure. So you can imagine what he would have done with 8 years. So that's the only thing that really, and the tissue boy Max. Show boy Baka so yebeye. Oh yebeye. Oh yebeye. And that for me really puts a bit of a dent on Showboy's projects. So now fighting and catching straws of it's our project. I don't really care about that, bro. I think at some point in time, we all need to come together and say, look, it's for the good of the country, it's for the good of the nation. The agenda should be nationalistic, not give me fans type of thing. It shouldn't be a fan club. When you come into government, you are a government for the people, not just your party members. All right. So let me take you to a video where President Mahama himself is talking about how, or perhaps hinting at how, this project is going to be funded. And let me know what you guys think after you watch this.
This project has been on the drawing board for a long time, and I thank Allah for allowing me to see this beautiful dream fulfilled. My thanks go to the management and staff of the airport company, Madam Yvonne and her staff, for making this project possible through what is a land swap agreement. And I thank our brother, the owner of Meshes Mawum's Construction, who are the promoters of this project, for their perseverance and diligence in bringing this project to commencement. My dear brothers and sisters, as I said, this project is for the welfare of all Muslims, notwithstanding political affiliation. And it is my fervent hope that we'll gather again here once more 24 months from now to commission this beautiful edifice to the glory of Allah.
So you heard Mr. President, talking about the fact that this project has been made possible as a result of a land swap. So what that means is the land upon which this project is going to be put on is owned by the government. All right. So in exchange, and this is where it might get tricky, in exchange for his construction services of the Hajj village, obviously powered by the Ghana Airports Company Limited, you're going to give us a Hajj village. If you look at the sophistication that comes with the Hajj village, you can tell that it's not a small project. So even with this, people are still wondering. I mean, if you say a land swap, that means government in money to go there inside small. I mean, if the conversation about valuing lands comes up and the cost for these lands in these prime areas, how much is the government going to take care of in such a conversation? Let me know what you guys think. Now, before I leave you guys, there's an aspect of this story that I want you guys to pay attention to, where President Mahama instructs the task force that the Hajj is not a business and it shouldn't be designed for profit. He says, I've instructed the task force that Hajj is not a business, Hajj is not meant for profit. The Hajj task force must not structure things to make profit. We do not want to profit from Hajj. After the performance of Hajj, if there is even one cedi left, that money should be donated to the poor or used for a project in the Muslim community. So does that mean, or does that suggest that indeed, some profit-making activity has been going on in the Hajj? I see. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it goes to the Ghana Airports Company, if you ask, which is also government of Ghana, So there is that. But hopefully they listen and they adhere to this instruction, because I'm sure people are definitely watching. But anyways, what do you guys make of this story? What do you guys make of this this project? Do you still think that government will have a hand in the funding of this project? I mean, clearly from what has been shared so far, it looks like it's a public-private partnership going on. And according to the MPP who say they started the project, or who claim they started the project, is going through the right processes to arrive at the contractor. What do you guys make of the story? Let me know in the comments below. But just a word of notice to the NDC and their supporters. I think they need to understand that when people raise concerns and they are asking questions, one of the things that really hurts them in 2016 or the 2016 elections was a lack of clarity in communication. In fact, some of the things that we got to know about the NDC was after we realized that it was too late. We were already in bed with the Addo government. So when people raise concerns and they ask questions and they are probing, it's not a witch hunt, at least for some of us. It's not a witch hunt. It's because we've been so hurt, emotionally manipulated, traumatized for 8 years under a government that took pleasure in white lies and gaslighting. Okay? So when you come and you promise me the world, all right? Like we say in our pop culture parlance, don't introduce me to a vibe you can't keep. You get what I'm saying? So when we raise questions and we are asking questions, it's not from a place of malice. We genuinely want to understand what's going on. What is the clarity of the matter? So it's up to you to educate. It's up to you to share so that we can put a tracker on it and know what to hold you accountable by and accountable to. But if you introduce these tactics of attacks, threatenings, dissent and all sort of things, you're creating all sorts of uncomfortable environments for us to voice out our lack of clarity or voice out our concerns about how we see things. You should also understand that politics has become more of optics. In fact, politics has always been a conversation of optics. But like never before, that has been deepened. How you respond to matters are checked. So sometimes I think we should cool down. I mean, it's not a fight. Nobody's out here to get anybody. We genuinely need answers and need clarity on certain matters. And when we have clarity on certain matters like what we've seen or what we are hearing about the Hajj village, we'll be able to amplify. Now, should something else happen outside, because for most of you, you thought that, the Hajj village was going to be funded by profits made by the pilgrimage or the pilgrimages, which wasn't true, okay? So when you tell us something, we hold on to that word because you guys have raised the bar or the standard, especially with how you came into power. Remember, you came into power heavily on the back of oral. Not enough is said or talked about when it comes to 24-hour economy. And not to say that the policy does not make sense or the policy does not add to anything. But essentially, for most of you, you do know that you caught the attention of the populace, of the electorate because of oral. Now that you are in power, we hold you at a very high pedestal because you were loud when you're in opposition. So when you come in, or now that you are in and we engage you guys, don't take it from a place of malice. Essentially, I believe these questions are designed to make sure that you clear any form of doubt, any shadow of doubt, while you focus on delivering on your mandate. That's it. Ghanaians don't have enough patience in them to be scammed anymore. That's just by the way. This is OSN, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.